Welcome to The Explainer. Okay, I want you to imagine a world where you can be arrested, but no one will tell you what you did wrong. A world with a court that has no address. This isn't science fiction, it's the world of Franz Kafka's The Trial, a book so powerful it literally gave us a new word for a certain kind of modern nightmare. Right from the first sentence, the ground shifts beneath your feet. This has to be one of the most brilliant and unsettling opening lines ever written. Our hero, Josef K, is innocent. He knows he is, and yet he's arrested. Just like that. No reason, no warning, just this terrifying, unexplained accusation hanging in the air. So who is this guy, Josef K? Well, he's just a normal, respectable bank manager. And this all goes down on the morning of his 30th birthday, of all days. But you can be sure this is not going to be any ordinary arrest. I mean, can you imagine? You wake up and there are two strangers just standing in your bedroom. They calmly inform you that you're under arrest. And when you ask the most logical question in the world, why? They just shrug and say, "We can't tell you." These guys aren't your typical cops. They're agents of some shadowy, invisible power that plays by its own completely baffling rules. And this is where things just go completely off the rails for Kay. He's under arrest, right? But then they tell him he's free to go to work. What? He demands to see a warrant, and they basically say, "We don't do that." They actually help themselves to his breakfast while taking notes on his stuff. Every single thing he expects to happen in this situation is met with total bureaucratic absurdity. So this completely bizarre arrest, turns out it's just Kay's first little peek into the huge, nonsensical system that's got him in its grip. And this system is called, simply, the court. You know, his search for the court is really the perfect symbol for his whole case. It's a journey into confusion. First, he's given this vague address for some rundown apartment building. Then he has to guess which staircase to take, wandering through hallways filled with kids and laundry. And when he finally finds it, the great and powerful court is just a hot, crowded, stuffy room in somebody's attic. And the location? It tells you everything you need to know about this court. This isn't some grand public building. It's hidden away, it's decaying, operating in the attics where people throw out their trash. The air is so thick and foul, it literally makes Kay feel sick. Yeah, this isn't a system of justice. It feels more like a disease, festering in the dark corners of the city. And just when you think it can't possibly get any more ridiculous, Kay gets a look at their supposed law books. And get this, they aren't law books at all. One is a cheap novel, and the other is full of pornographic pictures. This is it. This is the moment Kay realizes the horrible truth. The entire foundation of this court, its law, is a complete and total joke. So, a world this twisted, this oppressive, you have to ask yourself, where does an idea like this even come from? Well, to really get the nightmare of the trial, you've got to understand the man who created it, Franz Kafka. Kafka's life was short and, honestly, pretty frustrating. He actually got a law degree, but then spent his days stuck in a job he absolutely hated at an insurance company. His real passion, his real life, only happened at night, when he could write. And the truly tragic part is that most of his greatest works, including The Trial, weren't even published while he was alive. And that day job, the one at the Insurance Institute, that's it. That's the blueprint for his literary nightmare. His days were filled with rigid rules, complex procedures, and mountains of paperwork. So he took that feeling of being a tiny, insignificant cog in a huge impersonal machine, and he blew it up into the faceless, all-powerful court that has Josef K and its claws. But it wasn't just the bureaucracy that was weighing him down. A huge source of this feeling of oppression came from his own father, Hermann, a man Kafka saw as a complete tyrant. So that very personal, very real struggle of his, the individual fighting against an arbitrary, overwhelming power, that became the central theme of pretty much everything he ever wrote. So you take that mix, the soul-crushing job, the domineering father, the deep personal anxiety, and you get this vision of the world that is so unique, so potent, that we actually had to invent a new word to describe it. So what does Kafkaesque really mean when we say it? Well, think of it like this. It's that feeling you get when you're caught in a situation that makes absolutely no sense, is totally disorienting, and is somehow vaguely threatening all at the same time. It's that powerlessness you feel when you're up against a system whose rules you can't figure out and whose decisions you can't fight. And come on, we've all been there, right? Ever been stuck in one of those endless automated phone menus? Or tried to fix a simple mistake on a government form? How about arguing with a decision made by some computer algorithm you can't even talk to? That feeling, that helpless frustration, that, my friends, is Kafkaesque. And you know, this nightmare vision he had has only gotten more and more relevant. If you want proof of just how much this story still grips us, check this out. Back in 1988, Kafka's original handwritten manuscript for the trial sold at an auction for almost $2 million. Clearly, we're still obsessed with the world he built. Which brings us all the way back to poor Josef K and the story's chilling and maybe inevitable conclusion. So after an entire year of fighting, a year of searching for answers and trying to prove his innocence, K's journey ends exactly the way it started. Suddenly, and for no reason at all. On the eve of his 31st birthday, 2 more men show up. They're just as formal and impersonal as the first ones. They walk him out to a quarry, and that's it. No final trial, no verdict is ever read. Just a quiet, clean, bureaucratic execution. Like a dog. Those are his last words. And they are absolutely devastating. You see, he was never even found guilty because there was no verdict to begin with. He was just worn down and defeated by the process itself. In the end, the real punishment wasn't even his death. It was the crushing shame of being thrown away by a power he could never, ever understand. The book ends, but man, the questions stick with you. The judge is never seen, the high court is never reached. And what the trial really leaves us with is this chilling warning. It's not about finding answers, it's about the pure horror of a world where justice is just an illusion. And it forces us to look at our own complex world, with all its hidden rules and faceless systems, and ask ourselves, where exactly is the court? And who is the judge?